back. It's your boy Tommy D, the non-profit sector connector, coming at you from where else? Out of breath. How to run downstairs to get a battery for the on-air light. Philanthropy and Focus is the name of the show. Do you know I have to go up 2 flights of stairs to get up to my attic just below the roof? You know, like the roof, the attic, and the kitchen is way, way downstairs. 2 flights down. It's your boy Tommy D. Out of breath. Every single Friday, we bring another leader of a nonprofit organization virtually into my attic. They don't really come to my attic, but eventually I've said, in that movie, Wayne's World, when they wanted to give Wayne and Garth that show, they had to recreate Wayne's basement in the sound studio. One day, somebody's going to recreate my attic in the studio somewhere, Mike Billia, and maybe you'll be the first guest in the fake attic. We'll see. But every week I do this show, and I will do this show every week until I can't do it anymore, because nonprofits change our world each and every moment of each and every day, making incredible impact on the front lines with social services, with healthcare services, with putting food in the hands of people who need, with putting these services, whether they be legal services, in communities that are affected by the criminal justice system. Nonprofits are businesses that change our world, make social impact. Shout out to the New York City Imagine Awards. Shout out to the Long Island Imagine Awards. I got to tell you that because the Imagine Awards out here on Long Island are coming up in just a matter of weeks. And the New York City Imagine Awards applications are out right now. So Google NYC Imagine Awards, go to nycimagineawards.com. If you are a organization that serves individuals in the 5 boroughs in New York City, make sure you apply for one of the Imagine Awards. I am out of breath. I am fired up. Every single Friday, I have this great opportunity to have these special conversations. My guest today, Mike Billia, and I go back. I mean, I looked down at my notes, and I know you have a golf outing for Life's Work coming up. But I mean, I think the original way you and I started to connect was at golf outings, to be honest with you, right? And I think our friend Brendan Levy, shout out Brendan, the Queen's Chamber of Commerce, or Brendan and Tom Gretsch, just earlier this week at an event I was moderating with the Bayside Business Association. But Mike, you're a great golfer. I'm a great golfer, right? I mean, that's why they put us in these golf outings, right?
Well, I wouldn't use the word great, but we enjoy ourselves.
We do enjoy ourselves. And I will tell you, I said, I made a video leading up to the show and said, you know, that Mike Billia and I know each other for a number of years here on Long Island, and we would constantly run into each other at nonprofit events. As business people, I've been in the insurance and payroll and HR business and sales for a long time. And, you know, and Mike certainly in over 38 years in banking. So, but the thing about it for me, and I hope what we're going to talk about a lot today with Mike is the work that businesses and nonprofits do together. When I say businesses, I should say for-profit businesses and the nonprofit sector, some of that strategy stuff. And Mike, some of, you know, I was reading earlier in the week when I did a video, and I got a kick out of it because you are an active member of the board for the Michael Magro Foundation, past board member. We talked about this right before the show. Options for Community Living. My friend Yolanda Romano Gross. I will be at an event with Options tonight. Girls Inc. APAC. Is that Alley Pond Environmental?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Yeah, they're a client of ours at Vanguard Benefits. And obviously Queen's Chamber of Commerce, where like I think a lot of our connections, and I think what probably happened is Brendan Levy, who was another great golfer, invited you and I to play golf one time. And I think that's how it all started. But what I really want to hear from you today, Mike, is we talked about, but I want to set the stage for everybody else, is your background, the work you've done professionally, and a lot of that journey that has taken you to this role as the Chief Administrative Officer of Life's Work. I mean, I would imagine much of the relationships you've developed and built and nurtured over the years are still part of your world and the work you're doing now. And I want to talk about that. So really, at this point, I've talked a lot, which I do for the first 4 minutes of the program and much of my other life. But in this particular forum, I really want this to be you telling us some stories. Tell us about your journey. You know, I know you've been involved with Life's Work for many, many years on the board side, and then obviously in this relatively new role over the last 8 months. So at this point, why don't you just take us down memory lane? Tell us your story, and I'll pepper in some questions as we go through.
Great. Well, I want to first of all thank you for putting me on the show. Really appreciate it. You know, as you said, we've been friends for a long time. I'm not sure who's the better golfer, but we're pretty bad, both of us, so it's pretty good. But My career journey has been very interesting. When I graduated from college, I actually was a social worker. And my wife and I, who I'm still married to, Mary Ann, who I think is on the podcast.
Hey, Marianne.
We did internships at a place called Appalachian Youth Service, which was a program where it housed delinquent boys in group homes. There's a transition back into community. And, that kind of set, my hunger around, I guess, and my appreciation for the people that work in this field, because, as you know, you don't get paid a lot, but you learn a lot. And, one thing that the group home did for me initially was I was 20 years old, and it made me grow up very quickly. It made me also appreciate the things that my parents gave me growing up. And I think it made both of us, better parents with our children too. So, it was a great experience. We did it for a couple of years. We moved back to New York. I was trying to get a job in social work. Unfortunately, if you don't have a master's, it's very hard to get a job. So a friend of my wife's actually got me a job in banking. Well, actually in Dean Witter, which a lot of people wouldn't remember, the investment firm.
Sure.
And I ended up using that as a springboard to a long career in banking, where I've held, many, many different positions. But, one of the nice parts about, I think, in banking was I was given the opportunity to be exposed to a lot of different companies, including not-for-profits.
Mm-hmm.
When I was with the Bank of New York, I was fortunate to work for several people, and one especially Ed O'Donnell, who really got me involved in working with the not-for-profit world. And he was kind of my introduction to this field and how banks help through sponsorships and volunteer work, that what we did. And it always stayed with me. And actually, Life's Work was the first not-for-profit I really got involved with.
Is that right?
And I got involved with through Vicky Schneps,
Sure.
as well as Ed O'Donnell. And, I had an on and off relationship for probably over 30 years with them. But, in my banking career, I was fortunate to work for a lot of banks that gave back to the communities. The best bank I worked for, which has just recently been taken over, was Investors Bank.
That's how I know you. That's how, just to interrupt you for a sec. That's how we connected. And as you're telling this story, my curiosity is going, how much of that investors culture plays into what Mike is doing? Because I was able to be a witness to see what investors did specifically here on Long Island. But yes, obviously I'm in the city as well, but Long Island's my hometown, right? And just to see how ingrained in the nonprofit community investors was for me, just it showed a great model. Tell me, Kevin, who was the CEO?
So Kevin Cummings was the CEO, Dominic Hamill was the president. And I tell this story a lot. When you're employed, no matter what position at Investors, no matter what level, you went through orientation. So it was a 3-day orientation program in New Jersey. The first 2 days you learned about the company, but the third day you worked in a soup kitchen. And if you weren't allowed to work in the soup kitchen, if you didn't want to work in the soup kitchen, you couldn't work there.
That was it.
You used to write your check and say, see you later.
That's incredible. I got chills.
Yeah, it set the tone for going forward. We were lucky because both of those individuals really wanted to give back to the community. I think they personally felt a strong need that, they were not lucky, they were very successful in their careers, but, and part of that was being involved in communities and serving the community. So Investors Bank was a unique bank. It really was, and it was a great bank to work for. But we were allowed to join boards. We were allowed to sponsor stuff. We were allowed to give money to charities that, helped the communities. We wanted to be a community bank. Yeah. We wanted our branches to be part of the community. We wanted our people to be part of the community. So we volunteered to do a lot of stuff. That's how I became involved with the book fairies. Yeah. The Townwide Fund of Huntington, all of that kind of came out of the investors' focus on giving back to the communities. And it made it a really, really nice place to work. So, from my standpoint, I think I've been very fortunate that way because I've been able to get involved in a couple of different ways, and on the volunteerism side of it, but also on donating money through sponsorships to support different programs and different agencies. And then being a board member was kind of one of the best, I think, growing experience for me, because I started with Girls Inc. and I was the first male on the Girls Inc. board.
Love it.
And it was very interesting.
I'm
It was
sure.
Renee was fantastic. She took me under her wing, and I really learned a lot from her. From there, I got on the Alley Pond board. I was never really on their board. More so, I was their honoree, but I got very involved with them. I was able to Oxford Community Living. I was on it. Life's Work. I was the vice chair at one point. So, I was able to see different agencies in different parts of Long Island and in Queens. And Chamber of Commerce with Tom was fantastic. So, we really were able to, the bank gave us the ability to really expand our horizons, get out there and support all these different agencies. A couple of things in my career that I think back on, last year I was honored by the Moxie. I got I was honoree for Moxie, which was the empowerment of women. And that to me meant a lot to me because that was something that my staff recommended me for. And I thought that was pretty cool. Bill Brown, who used to be our chief retail officer, was the honoree for Life's Work. And I still say to this day, he gave one of the best speeches ever at the gala. And, so I've been fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of really great people. When I think of Life's Work, we have Matt Sabatos, our CEO. I mean, I've learned a lot about fundraising. I learned a lot about capital programs and about just being, a good person. And I think that's what really, makes me excited every day, is that we're making a difference. We are changing how things are done. And, I say this in my new position all the time. Not everyone can work in some of the positions that are required. We have people that work in the homes. That's a tough job, and not everyone can do that. And we really should appreciate the people that do the day-to-day heavy lifting, because that's a tough job. I have an easy job.
Yeah.
The people under me have a very tough job.
I want to.
Go ahead.
I want to talk about some of that stuff. The work that both your associates do, the people that work for you, and then even an angle on the vocational side for the participants and folks that you serve. We'll talk about that, in a couple minutes when we come back from a break. But I think you and I are certainly agree on the fact that the individual employees, associates, stakeholders that serve our participants are on the front lines and do not, in a lot of ways, get the accolades they deserve. These are people who work hard to protect our family members who might have a disability. Again, we're talking about an organization that works with 2,000 individuals, if I'm not mistaken, each year in the disability space. I want to look back at the website, across residential programs and community programs as well. But we're talking about individuals who who are not earning significant funds for the work they do, but they are there each and every day taking care of members of other people's families. So we'll talk some about that. Before we go to break, I just want to shout out some people. Mike dropped a couple names, and these are people certainly important in our community. Renee Daniel Flagler, Girls Inc. of Long Island, my friend, my mentor in a lot of ways. I appreciate you. Appreciate all you do for the Long Island community and helping girls become strong, smart, and bold. And I need you. Actually met some folks from an organization called I Try last night. They help middle school girls out on the east end of Long Island compete in triathlons, not just compete, but prepare for triathlons. And I was like, you need to know Girls Inc. and Girl Scouts with Tammy Severino. Shout out to Tammy and Nariki over at Girl Scouts of Suffolk County. And then the other, you dropped Tom's name, Tom Gratch, our friend, another buddy of mine, over at the Queens Chamber of Commerce, CEO and president of the Queens Chamber. If you want to know who these folks are, these are leaders in our community, gang, and you just got to connect with Tommy D, and I'll help you get connected to these people. We are going to go to a quick break. Mike Villia, Chief Administrative Officer. It's a big old title. I want to know what it actually means when we come back from. Well, you only got 8 months in the seat. You don't know exactly what it is yet. We will figure that out when we come back. We'll talk about the work the organization is doing, the impact. 50 years. I've been in Vicki Schnepp's office on Bell Boulevard in Queens at the Courier office and seen the pictures with Vicki and Geraldo and the story back to Willowbrook many, many years ago. Gang, if you don't know the history, maybe Mike and I will get into it today, but it's just a matter of an organization that started out something smaller and makes a drastic impact each and every day. But that's what we do here at Philanthropy Focus. Your boy, the nonprofit sector connector. Quick break. We'll be right back.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic. I promised you that 2023, I would take singing lessons. And it is the 31st of March, 2023. And from when I hear myself sing, I don't even know that I need singing lessons. You might differ. Send me your opinion. Send me a note. Let me know. See a lot of folks checking in on Facebook. Let me know. Mick Collins, how are the pipes? Am I singing well? I am going to do that, Mike. I always fancy myself a crooner, you know, like Sinatra, Tony Bennett. Actually saw Tony Bennett at a place called Paula Resort and Casino out in California many years ago, about 17, 18 years ago. I was away for President's Club with ADP where I used to work. It's actually how I met Vicky Schneps many years ago on Bell Boulevard because very involved in Bayside Business Association. Our office for ADP was on Bell. But, you know, Harry Connick Jr., you know, I just fancy myself a crooner. Maybe I just got to, you know, take some lessons, Mike. Anyway, back to the show, back to the story, back to what's going on. You started to mention some of the people that work in your organization, and you know, I think it's interesting. And it's you said I couldn't do that. I couldn't be working in a group home setting or a residential setting and do those types of services. And I think I hear you, and I don't know that I could do that either. And I think it takes me in a lot of directions what I want to talk about. But the one thing I'll say is it takes certain compassionate people to do the work on the front lines as an organization like yours. And I see it a lot. I spend a lot of time in nonprofit, as we know, but also a lot of time in nonprofits that serve, I say, our community of individuals with IDD, as we say now, intellectual and developmental disabilities. I made a joke the other day. I tend to do that sometimes. And I probably said what I'm about to say on this show before. But I suck at a lot of things. I am not good at many things. I'm good at a handful of things, maybe 3 or 4 things that I'm pretty good at. I think we as a society need to focus and accentuate what individuals are good at, what individual skill sets and talents are, and not say that people cannot do things. We just need to find what people are good at. So there's a lot of ideas that come out of that for me. I think, you know, I'm on the board of the Spirit of Huntington Art Center, which, you know, we've met. I know you know Michael Katakis and the team over there, but I bring up Spirit of Huntington because we have an artworks program. Vocation is so incredibly important. And as we know in our community, as individuals age out, turn 21 and are no longer in the school systems and no longer have programs, it takes for vocational organizations, or rather organizations that offer vocational programs, similar to the artworks program, where folks come out with a digital degree to do website design, to do graphic artwork. In fact, which you may or may not know, Mike, I think I might have told you this, but our company, Vanguard Insurance Agency, went through a rebrand, Vanguard Benefits, mission, vision, value. Much of our social media, a lot of our content from the agency side is in collaboration with Spirit of Huntington. And these are people with varying abilities, people with different abilities. Gang, it's not about what people don't and cannot do. It's about where do we find what folks are really good at. And I say it tongue in cheek, and I say it self-deprecating that I suck at a lot of things, or I'm not good at a lot of things, but it's just to draw a point. Like, I found the 3 or 4 things I'm pretty good at, and I'm just going to do the hell out of those. And if we as individuals in a 70, 80, and 90 year life could figure out what the heck that is for each one of us, people have incredible skill sets that are overlooked because they're blocked out by bad thinking. Period. End of story. Soapbox, put it away. It'll probably be back later on, but we'll put it away for now. Mike, let's talk about those people that are on the front lines that do the work. Let's talk about the programs. Let's talk about what life's work is about. What does it look like? What are the deliverables, please?
So just to understand life's work, I think you have to understand our history. 51 years ago, Vicky Schnaps, in conjunction with Geraldo, exposed Willowbrook. And in short, they changed the way we look at working with people with disabilities throughout the world. And it had a major impact. And that's how life's work was that's how life's work was developed. So, right now, over the 50 years, we've grown to 45 residential programs where we house over 270 individuals. We have 12 non-residential programs that we run. And then we run a host of other things that we do for training with parents. We started a series of parent workshops, things like that, to just educate people, because the journey through the process, as I found out, is very tedious and very cumbersome and very confusing.
What
And
process,
so
Mike? What do you, just go back a sec, Mike. What do you mean process? Process of what?
Well, just that if you have a child who, say, I'll use on the spectrum, it starts very early when this process has to start. And, a lot of families are overwhelmed. They don't know what's going on. So we've started to provide, what is called a front door service, where people, are able to come to our organization. We can help them navigate through this, because the navigation part with the state is not easy. And I'm not an expert on it, so I can't really tell you the ins and outs. But I know I've sat through the first program, and I was almost like in shock of what a parent has to go through. So, as an agency, we try to help parents navigate that. Our residential programs are, I think, top of the line. We spend a lot of time making sure that those homes are homes. People that live there their whole lives. We make it their house, and we really spend a lot of time making sure that it feels like a home. And in saying that, it comes with the staff that we employ too. I think every organization is now going through a staffing crisis. We don't pay a whole lot of money. It's government funded. Anytime you work with the government, there's a lot of red tape that you have to go through. But the people that do work here, and the people I've had the pleasure of working with, are compassionate about what they do. They don't do it for the money.
Right.
They really don't do it for the money, but they do it because there's a compassion to help people that I wouldn't even say are less fortunate, or they're just different. Yep. Because some of them aren't less fortunate. Some of them just need, some help. So very interesting. It's an interesting industry, and life's work has given me the ability to see it through the whole range of things that go on. So, you said before, what does a chief administrative officer do? So I wear a lot of hats here. So and I'll just go through my list. I'm in charge of compliance and quality. I'm in charge of maintenance, where I oversee maintenance and compliance. I oversee all the non-residential programs. I oversee the FCA, which is our Family Center for Achievement now. We just rebranded that from Autism to Achievement. So I'll give a plug in for that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second.
Yep.
I also oversee marketing and development and fundraising. And then the last thing is I'm going to be overseeing workforce.
How many hours a week do you work? Like 300?
Yeah, I have an easy job. My staff works 300. But the fun part is that I oversee all this stuff, but I have such good people working for me. I have fun.
Yeah.
We laugh more than we argue. We look at each other. We're a very creative group. We work well as a team that everyone has a say on my team. Everyone, no matter what you're in charge, if you're in charge of non-residential, you can still talk about marketing. We like to get all that feedback. And it's been a very, very interesting journey for me because there's a lot of really great talent here. So I thank God every day that I have this talent, because if I had to do this all by myself, I'd be in trouble. So it's really good. That's a shout out to my team.
Yeah, and that's it. And I appreciate you doing that. And it's sort of kind of an expected piece of feedback I get from leaders of nonprofit organizations, because they are humble folks who are like, look, it ain't about me. It's about the people that are doing the work with me, right? And I love the word team. And it's funny, I'll say this. I mean, you come from banking, I come from sales in the payroll space for a long time in HR. And I always used to laugh at that word team, in the setting of sales team. Now, team means like you and I play soccer, let's say, right? And I kick the ball to you and we're on the same team, and you kick it back to me and one of us puts it in the net, and that's teamwork, right? But I always used to get a kick out of it because for like 1 week a year when I was at ADP, for example, we would be away together and we'd be celebrating together for like President's Club or something. And then for 49 and a half weeks of the year, people be trying to take food off my plate. And I always felt like that is not exactly what a team, that's not a sales team. That doesn't sound right. So I always joked about that. But I know it about our agency. I think of us in terms of a team. I certainly think I am on a lot of teams, and I don't mean athletically, but I play on a lot of teams, whether it be with the Nonprofit Resource Hub or the boards I sit on. But that word to me has a lot of meaning, Mike. And I think I'm hearing it from you as well, is that everybody's opinion is valid. Let's hear them. A lot of things aren't going to be correct, but put the ideas out there. Let's check it out. Let's put, I love those expo markers and a whiteboard, let's write it on the whiteboard. Let's write it, spell it wrong. Who cares? Get it on the board. Let's kind of get it up there and then say, that's cool. Or let's try that one. And then afterwards we look back and go, wow, that didn't make sense. That sucked, or that didn't work out, but we iterated, we did the thing, right? So that to me is the fun about it. What do you say to that?
Yeah, no, I think part of being a leader is asking people to be creative, asking people to take chances, and asking people to make decisions. And not every decision's right, but you learn from that stuff. And as a team, you win and lose.
Yeah.
One of the things I really like here is that our whole focus is around the people we serve. That's our number one priority. Every decision we make is about that. Every decision, everything we change is about that. And it's really it's very healthy atmosphere when you make a decision, someone will say, well, how does that affect the people we support? And that's the main goal. So, again, I think a lot of agencies do this, but I can only talk about life's work is that's ingrained in our philosophy, that's ingrained in our DNA. And it's a really healthy atmosphere when it comes to working here. The other thing, you were talking about Spirit of Huntington. So right behind me, I have 3 pictures on my wall. You can see 2 of them, in conjunction with the Spirit of Huntington. We had 5 of our people get into their final for their painting. So we actually took the paintings, we had them enlarged, we have them up along the thing. We actually have our magazine, which I'll show you the cover, that we put all 5 of them on it.
Wow.
As part of our newsletter that we send out. But this is the stuff that keeps us going. Yeah. This is the stuff, the creative part, that we see the people that we support. They have a lot of abilities. I think people have a misconception sometimes. They have abilities, and some really good abilities.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we try to do is make sure that we're always challenging our people too to be better than what they are. So we do a lot of stuff with Spirit of Huntington. They have a great art program. We send our kids, our guys there, because we know that it'll teach them both socialization skills, but more also the ability and confidence that they can do some stuff.
100%.
And it's a very interesting concept. One of the nice parts I think also about Life's Work is we collaborate with a lot of different agencies. We try to take the best of what we can find and incorporate it in our own programs, which keeps a lot of people very busy.
Yeah.
Because we're always looking to get better. We're always looking to get how can we improve this? So the FCA is one.
Well, let's hold FCA. Let's hold the
Yeah.
FCA because we got to go to a quick break, and I want to give you time for that. So I want to take a couple points out of this, and you and I got to say hello to a friend of ours who's checking in. How does this affect the people we serve? Gang, if that's all we ever did was consider that as business professionals or as leaders of nonprofits, well, that sounds like a good idea. But how does that affect the people we serve? Well, that would be out of our budget. Okay, but how does that affect the people we serve? Should we do these things? And if that is your North Star as a business or a leader of a nonprofit organization, or just, in your community, if you run a business association, how does that affect the people we serve? And always trying to improve and get better and be creative. Man, oh man, Philanthropy and Phocus was just an idea. It wasn't even a thing. It was just, I kept telling people, I'm going to do this show and I'm going to interview people. Now we're over 110 episodes of something that was just an idea. And do I make mistakes? Only every time I do the show. So my point of this is, freaking try something. Just do it. Nike had an idea with that. Just do it. Just do it. Just do the thing. And if it don't work, cool. You found a way not to do it. I mean, I think it was, it's Edison. I think he said when he found 10,000 ways not to create the incandescent bulb, right? Found 10,000. He didn't say I failed 10,000 times. He goes, well, there's another way not to do it. So think about that. That's how you be creative. You and I need to send a hello to our friend Yolanda Rabano Gross because she's checking in. And she says, Mike is awesome. And so is Life's Work. So say hello to Yolanda.
Thanks, Yolanda. I appreciate it. I do miss our board meetings.
Well, she'll probably get you on the board back if you're missing that much. That's what I do on the show. Put people on spot. Your boy, Tommy D. I'm just trying to get better. And today I'm trying to be the best Tommy D that I could be. We'll be right back.
Are you passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be frank about health to advocate for all of us.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy and Phocus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Tommy D, what you're about to say, that is so 2022. So here's the deal. I used to make the guests on the show, Mike Billia, sing the theme song usually when we come back from break.
It's not happening.
I'm not having it. That was pretty much the response. And I say I used to make them do it. Nobody ever did it. But I will tell you, one friend of mine who loves the theme song is our friend Yolanda. And she's like, Tommy in the attic and the whole thing. So, so Yolanda, I will see you at an event later tonight. Shout out to Suzanne Wittenberg, who is our friend and colleague over at the Spirit of Huntington Art Center. In 1987, I want to make a quick shout out. Where did that go? 1987, President Reagan recognized March as Developmental Disabilities Month to increase public awareness of the needs and the potential of Americans with developmental disabilities, and to provide encouragement and opportunities they need to lead productive lives and achieve their full potential. My cousin Linda had special needs or intellectual and developmental disabilities. Unfortunately, we lost Linda when she was 31, about 10 or 11 years ago at this point. And we, in Linda's memory, we have the Lindy Lou Foundation. And just this past Sunday, we did the big Lindy Lou Classic at Syosset Lanes out here on Long Island. And all the money we raised through the Lindy Lou Foundation goes to organizations who are supporting this community, our community, people with different abilities, as I like to say. So that's shout out to President Reagan for his vision on this. And in honor of these months, as I've said in the past, each month we're going to feature another awareness month in conjunction with the work I'm doing here and in conjunction with what we're doing on the other side of Vanguard Benefits on the agency side, really educating folks on how benefits affect these different awareness months. But right back at it, Mike, let's get into it. Let's talk programs. Let's talk kind of a day in the life. If I was to come on a tour with you, which we need to do, you know what I need, everybody, if you're listening, I came up with this idea this morning, super early this morning when I was walking the new dog Cheeto. I came up with this idea. I think I need an intern who is maybe in a social media or a photography or a videography, like coursework, that maybe once a week or every 2 weeks or once a month, we go hang out together. And I just go on tour facilities on Long Island of nonprofits, which I do anyway. But then I'm trying to like do this job where I'm like with my camera, my phone, trying to take videos or whatever. But I think if I had somebody just like my own young paparazzo that comes out and we go on tour, and it's the Tommy D Show on location. So if you're listening out there in the world and you know a young person who wants to work and do some of that video skills and stuff like that, and I'll make them laugh. We'll get them a couple bucks. We'll figure this thing out. And I'm always good at taking people to lunch. I like that. And we'll definitely have plenty of caffeine. So, screwing up the youth, giving them more caffeine, Mike, just so they can come around and chase me with a camera. Anyway, that's something I'm thinking about. But if I was to come on the tour, let's just say theoretically in a month, I have that intern with me on my team and we're going out and doing some work together. What would you take me through, like the programs, take me through a day in the life?
So I think, first of all, our residential programs probably are the things that I would take you first to. They are our spotlight. They're been around a long time, and it's interesting to go to each home, different homes, different types of individuals in the homes, and just see the care that we give and how they live within the home, because that is their house. So, but also the FCA. So we were talking about that before. So we have what is called, it used to be called the Family Center for Autism. We recently are rebranding, effective tomorrow, actually, to the Family Center of Achievement.
Will there be a ribbon cutting?
No, not yet. We will do that now.
Tell your boy. I don't want to find out when I see the pictures on LinkedIn the next day. Gang, I'm so tired of seeing the pictures on LinkedIn at an event I should have been at. So call me the day before, everybody. I don't want to see the pictures the next day. So tell me when that's coming. Family Center for Achievement.
So that'll be a couple of, we'll do the rebranding, the official rebranding in a couple of weeks. But the reason we did that was, it was interesting. We sat around, we were having one of our meetings with the team, and we kind of said, the Family Center for Autism, even though we do a heavy population in the autism spectrum, we said, we want to be more inclusive. So we said, how can we do that? So the first thing we thought about was changing our name to Achievement, because the Family Center for Achievement, that's what the Family Center is all about. It's achievement. Right. It's about helping people. We do both social skills and skill building there, and living skills like cooking and painting, and we have Zumba, physical activity. But it's really a socialization type program where we're bringing people, individuals together to work with each other, to learn about each other, but also to socialize and to get more comfortable within that setting. And it's been we have some great people over there that run the place. We run classes throughout the week, mostly Saturday and Sundays is our bigger class, or more of our volume. But we continue to look at that program every session, we call it, and we continue to change programs, add programs. I'm a firm believer, I like to get more into early development type stuff, where we're working with younger children and their parents to make this journey together. through the whole process, because technically from our organization, you go from A to Z.
Yeah.
And we kind of really want to be there to help people. So the FCA is a very exciting program. We're going to rebrand it. It's really, to achieve goals, and it's a place for all. It's open to the whole community. And one of the things that we've noticed that has changed is we need to incorporate more of this community focus. It's just not a place for special needs. You could bring anybody there.
Yeah.
We could teach art to anybody.
Yeah.
We could teach cooking to anybody. So we're trying to open up our doors to the whole community to integrate more people together. And, this will give us an opportunity to really help families that need the help, and to enrich people that are in our programs. The other thing that's exciting with us is we have our Day Have program where we bring people into communities. Right now we have over 250 people in that program, or 240 people in the program. And we continue to grow that program. And, that's where we take individuals and we're in the community. We're doing volunteer work for like the book fairies.
I was going to ask you that, especially, knowing your connection to book fairies. Gang, shout out. If you don't know book fairies, please, but you're not paying attention to the show, but you need to know book fairies. My friend Eileen Minogue is just an incredible leader, and Amy Zaslansky, an incredible founding leader. And they have found, I was at a meeting at Malloy yesterday around best practice, Malloy University here on Long Island yesterday. I had the opportunity to get invited to a best practices conference panel discussion for nonprofits. And, was just thinking in terms of one of the questions that came up around, founders and how that legacy changes. And I always think of, when I talk about an organization that really got it, is Amy and Eileen over at Book Fairies, and how they're still able to collaborate. Amy knew where it was time to bring in a leader, to an established executive leader, where Amy could focus on different parts of the organization, and Eileen can then kick it up a notch in some ways. And there's such grace around that particular relationship. And we've featured them on here on Philanthropy and Phocus, but certainly also in my nonprofit executive leadership roundtables. And that dynamic that they have is just so special. And I know, though, many of the relationships that Amy created are with organizations like yours, Mike, that are these individuals, these participants in programs are doing what, gang? They're getting on a bus or a van. They're going to a place to pick up books, bring those books to book fairies, and then some of those books that are getting back out into community, they're making an impact, these individuals, right? Again, people have different skill sets. Some people can do graphic design work. Some people can do this other type of work to make an impact, right, Mike? I mean, it's so special. What are some of the other programs or that the Day Have gets involved with?
We do. We go to farms. We work at ponytails. We did that. What's it called? Hair We Share. Hair We Share.
Oh, Hair We Share. Yeah. Shout out to Dean Riskin.
Oh, Hair We Share.
Yeah, they're actually finalists in the Rising Star category, the Vanguard Benefits Rising Star Imagine Awards. Yep.
Some food banks we also volunteer at, some of the farms. But again, we go out and solicit organizations that need our help. And the people that we serve love it because it gives them something to do, gives them a purpose in their life. And we're always looking for new opportunities where we can help, do things, on a volunteer basis. But Book Fairies has been one of our biggest areas, biggest organizations we've worked for. And Eileen has treated us very well.
Oh my God, such special leaders. Gang, if you're a leader in the nonprofit sector and you want to connect with Eileen, she's so giving, she's so thoughtful for the sector. She's just a special leader. That's what I know about nonprofit folks, is like they roll up their sleeves and go, what do you need? How can I help? Wait, you have your own organization to run. Yeah, I know. And I'm doing that. And that's cool. But how can I help you? And those are the people that I hang out with, the people who just are giving of their time. Yeah, Mike.
We just opened a store in our building at 1501 where we sell, all products. It's almost like a convenience store, but it's actually operated by our residents. It's been well received. And, we're always looking for ways of making people feel like they have a purpose.
Yeah.
And it's really important to have, I guess a philosophy where you're always looking to get them outside. We don't want them sitting in a home. We don't want them sitting in a classroom. We want them out in the community, socializing with all types of people and learning a trade or learning a skill, which hopefully in some cases turns into a job. In some cases they do in supermarkets and things like that. There's a whole employment services we do. So, when I say we're A to Z, we're A to Z. And I guess the last segment we'll talk about workforce, which is the next evolution in our growth.
Yeah.
And this program we're developing is going to be cutting edge. We're actually in the process of putting plans together. We're almost close to going for permits. But workforce is going to take us to another level of how we, help get people to feel like they have a purpose. And
what a difference, Mike. Yeah, we're gonna take a break. I want to hear workforce when we come back. When we come back, we're gonna talk about events, what you need, how we can help, and how the community can help. But workforce is so interesting because if you think about, and I'm gonna get like historic here, and I shared, gang, on Facebook. If you don't know the story about Willowbrook and when Victoria Schneps, and Geraldo Rivera went out to Willowbrook, you got to check out the story and understand that. But just what a difference in our history as to treating folks and supporting folks and giving them what they need, versus the way it had been done in only this population had been served only a short time ago. But I mean, workforce, job, vocational training, all this stuff is what we should be doing for everyone. That's what we're supposed. I'm pissed off for greatness, gang. Like, this is the stuff we're supposed to be doing. And as a society, we're making the right impact. Not everywhere, not every day, but we're continuing to evolve. And that's where we need to even have the grace and compassion for ourselves as leaders in this world, is getting things done, but it may not be right away, but we're doing the work. When we come back, let's talk about workforce. I've seen the photos, I've seen the not renderings, but I've seen some blueprints recently and things like that, and whatever. Not sure what I can say, what I can't say, but you can share with us when we come back about what's coming, about what you need, and about, we got a golf outing and we got an Easter lunch. We'll talk about that stuff when we come back. It's your boy, Tommy D. Right back. Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy and Phocus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be frank about health to advocate for all of us.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Join me every single Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. But don't physically show up at the attic. But just join me here on Philanthropy and Focus on Facebook or on YouTube or wherever you found this, or listen streaming on talkradio.nyc. I got to tell you something, gang. When you want something, just ask for it. Just put it out there in the universe, put it out to the community. And I'll tell you why I would say such a thing, because as I watch us here on Facebook, Mike, which is funny to watch me here on Zoom and then see me on that monitor. I mean, I'm a big Tommy D fan, probably the biggest, but like there's even too much for me sometimes. But as I'm watching on Facebook, I'm seeing Suzanne Wittenberg says from Spirit of Huntington, Sam from our Spirit of Huntington team is a videographer, filmmaker by education and degree. And Yolanda Rabano Gross says, I have the perfect kid for you, film and photo major at 5 Towns, and his parents will be there tonight, meaning where I'm going tonight. With Yolanda, I'll see these folks. So if you have a specific ask, remember, I am the nonprofit sector connector. It's all about connection. It's all about relationships. If you have something you need, do yourselves a favor and freaking ask for it and say it, because now I might have to hold interviews for something that I just came up with this morning as an idea. So, Mike Bilia, I think this is a good segue if I know how to do one, but what does your organization need? What is upcoming? How can we help? Is or are there specific asks that you have right now?
So, we of course, I think every organization needs some fundraising. So we continue to do our golf outing on the 14th at Old Westbury, the 15th. I'm sorry,
15th.
The 15th at Old Westbury. We look for more community involvement. We're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for people to help us out. We're looking for people to work on fundraisers for us separate. Just had Vicky's grandson, Blake, just raised $1,100 during March Madness for us.
I love
out of the goodness of his heart. And that's where we like the grassroots type stuff. We like people that, we'll do little fundraisers just to get people involved. We do a walk. We're going to be doing a walk in September. Last year, we had, a couple of hundred people show up to it. And, it's not always about raising the money. It's more about getting the community more involved and more awareness to what we do. And I think once people realize what we do and the goodness that we do, they want to be involved. Yeah. And then it's easy to ask. It's easy to get volunteers. So, if I had one ask, I would just have some people, contact us. If you don't know what we do, if you want to be involved, if you have some time to help out, to work in help out in a home, help out on the FCA as a volunteer, we would love that. The workforce is a new program we're coming out with. We were very fortunate, the Phocus family, who Lynn is our chairperson, their family we're going to be doing a partnership with them with a building in Garden City. It's 24,000 square feet. And we're going to really, we're putting it together a plan to make that into a place where we can teach people job skills so they can work in the private and public sector, or just have a purpose in life, because not everyone will get to that. So right now we're in the planning stages. We have the building. We're kind of working out the plans around the classrooms. We'll have a full gym there, full-size gymnasium, which would be great. Awesome. A major art room, major music room, but more importantly, we're going to be doing card detailing. We're going to be teaching how to do card detailing with graphics arts that you talked about. Yeah. Gardening. We're going to we have a grant for a greenhouse. The state just gave us a $735,000 grant to help with the build out. So the program is going to be huge. It's going to be the next cutting level, the next step in our evolution as an organization, and we're very excited about it. But we're in the planning stage, so there's not a whole lot to tell other than we have some great ideas, and usually our ideas come true. So a lot of hard work. Will be in good shape.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. I got to be honest, because I sort of, I found myself in a meeting with and got to see your vision and certainly Lynn's vision on what that's all going to be. Shout out, Lynn. Hope you're well. It was nice seeing you recently. And I just think in terms of what we are doing to serve our population, serve our community, it's a lifelong, you say A to Z, I say lifelong. The point of it is people need different services. Now, people have different skill sets. I joke about it. I know I did it here this morning. There's things I can do. There's things I cannot do. I want to do the things I'm good at, and I want to challenge myself. Everybody wants to do that. Everybody wants to be challenged. Life begins, gang, at the end of your comfort zone. So get a little freaking uncomfortable, ask for something, ask for help, and go and get that certificate, that training, whatever it is that you want to do. Just go freaking do it. Like, go do it. Like, I don't care. Great. That was great. So go do it. Like, that's how I treat it with my kids, is like, well, that's tough. Yeah. Life is difficult sometimes, but what do? We get support, we get help, and we empower people to be the best that they can be. And I am so excited to be just a witness to what's going to happen at that building that you're talking about, because it looks so special. I mean, car detailing, there's a skill set that somebody might be able to do and learn and be super interested in. And, you know, when there's attention to detail, I don't know if you know this, but I sit on the I'm involved with the state advisory board for Best Buddies International, and there's a young man named Zach Smith who works as a statistician for the NFL. I will tell you, many people, myself included, would not be very good as a statistician for the NFL, because I can't pay attention very long with my ADHD, man. But, like, you know, not everybody's going to run a radio show and be able to manipulate all the things and stuff that I do. So it's, where is your zone of just expertise and super interest, and where's your zone of genius? Find it. And sometimes if you can't find it, you need help to find it. And I think that's a lot of what you're talking about, Mike, is that sort of work. Mike, we are running out of time, which I promised you earlier in this week. We would run out of one thing and not the other. We would not run out of words. Certainly not Mikey B and Tommy D would not, that would never happen, but we would run out of time. So I want you to just leave us with a message, something we can know about, something we can connect with life's work and yourself.
I would just like to say thank you to everyone that works in this field. I think it's, God bless everyone. It's a very rewarding job, but I know there's struggles with, you know, money and stuff like that. So my heart goes out to everyone that's in this field. I want to say thank you, because without the people that work in this field, we'd be in a mess. So I really just want to say shout out to say thank you to all the people that work in this industry.
Yeah, right on. I echo that. Thank you for all you do. Thank you to the sector. Thank you to the leaders in the sector. Thank you to those who are on the front lines. I mean, I was thinking real quick, a story, an organization that I know very well, who's in a similar, has similar services to your organization, Mike. And he, you know, sometimes when you're dealing with individuals with either intellectual developmental disabilities or mental health issues, it can get physical. And sometimes, you know, an employee could be injured. And this woman was telling me a situation happened on a Tuesday, and on Wednesday she was back at the group home serving this community, because that's what she loved and that's what she wanted to do. So all the love and compassion to the people who are doing this work, all the appreciation to you, Mike, and Vicky and the team over at Life's Work. And I will apparently I have some interns now out of the show. Now I'm going to have my own paparazzi or paparazzo. I'm not sure what's plural and what's singular anymore. But maybe I'll have two photographers and a videographer. Dream big, Tommy D. That's what I always say. Listen, Mike, I appreciate you. Appreciate your friendship. I look forward to riding in a golf cart with you again sometime this spring. Let's make it happen. And just listen, keep plugging into this show, because you make me happy by showing up and listening to what I'm talking about with these folks. Make it a great day, everybody. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Tommy. Thank you.